is your host, Worf Poe, aka Doc H, aka... well, I'm still Michael Hemmingson, and it is time for Dr. Hemmingson's news of the weird, and sometimes even the weirder. And, well, I guess we got a couple to talk about. For instance, Spiderman is dead. Yes, you heard me right. Peter Parker, R.I.P. The geeky, wisecracking teenager who learned that with great power comes great responsibility back in 1962 will finally succumb to one of his greatest rivals in Wednesdays. That would be today. Today's Amazing Spider-Man number 700. In the issue, Peter Parker loses a major battle with Dr. Octopus, Doc Ock, who spent the past year fighting to destroy the world as his own body slowly died. And Yep. Marvel writer Dan Slott, who wrote the finale of the comic series that started the Wall Crawler's exploits, explained the transformations in USA Today. This is Moriarty in the head of Sherlock, he said. This is Prince John inside of Robin Hood. This is the greatest villain inside the body of the greatest hero and trying to do good. This is a guy who was a couple steps away from a bucket list, and now he's got a whole new lease on life. That's really going to change him. He further advanced this idea in an interview with CNN, saying, for all intents and purposes, Octo Octavius, who became the evil Doc Ock, was the adult Peter could have become, Spider-Man's dark reflection, he said. So what if he flipped out? What if we gave him a second chance? Peter's final heroic act was to give Doc Ock all the memories and experiences that kept him on the right path. But is that enough? Can that overcome Doc Ock's true nature? Now, as per the common thread in comics, the tone of the franchise will take on a darker shade. As such, Marvel will cast aside the amazing title for a new fresh one, Superior Spider-Man. Much of the Marvel Universe has already experienced a semi-reboot in the past year or so. Of course, in the world of comics, nothing is permanent. In the 1990s, Spider-Man had an identity crisis that for a time made it seem that Parker was actually a clone of a man named Ben Reilly, who took on the webbed garb for himself before dying. And many comic legends have appeared to have died only to return through some scientific miracle or plot twist. A few examples: Superman died in the 1990s, Bruce Wayne lost the cape and cowl as Batman for a time, and Bucky took on the role of Captain America. Yeah, in the comics universe, especially in DC, you can never know which of the worlds you're on, because there's so many different alternate reality worlds, Earth 3, Earth 4, Earth 27, Earth 99, or whatever, that things could be going on. So, when Superman died in the 90s, when Doomsday killed him, we had 4 Supermen pop up after that. There was the Superboy clone, who's a clone of Superman. Actually, there were a lot of clones of him, of Superman, that were being created by Lex Luthor and the Cadmus operation of the Black Ops government. There was the Man of Steel, who was a guy in a steel outfit, a thick steel, kind of looks Superman-esque. There was a sort of robot Superman. He was a cyborg, super cyborg Superman who thinks he's Superman. And then there was another Superman who the Fortress of Solitude had captured Superman's soul to input into a clone body. However, the Fortress of Solitude didn't capture all of Superman's soul and failed to capture Superman's morality. So the new Superman that the Fortress of Solitude creates goes around killing villains and has no moral compass. Of course, later on we find out, they capture all of Superman's soul and reimplant his soul into a newly created body by these robots, and that's what he is now. So every time they kill off a character, just like when they killed off Bruce Wayne, or he broke his back, Bane broke his back, took them a while to come back. That storyline they kind of use as part of the Dark Knight Rises. So there we have it. Death of Spider-Man. Now, Superior Spider-Man. But over in Germany, they have bigger worries. The gender of God is dividing the German government. This is coming from Reuters news service. A minister in Angela Merkel's government has sparked a pre-Christmas, well, now post-Christmas, row among Germany's ruling parties by suggesting God be referred to in the neutral article Das instead of the masculine der. Family Minister Christina Schroeder made the comments when asked in an interview with German weekly Die Zeit how she explained to her young daughter the use of the masculine form for God. The article is not important, she responded, adding that it was fine to use Das instead of the traditional der when referring to God. So I guess that would be Das Gott rather than der Gott. The remarks were immediately denounced by members of Schroeder's own Christian Democratic Union and its Bavarian sister party, the Christian Social Union. The intellectualized nonsense leaves me speechless, Christine Hardenhauer, Bavarian's social minister, told top-selling Deli Blid. Stefan Mueller, a CSU lawmaker, said he was bewildered by Schroeder's inappropriate comments. When pressed on the matter of a government news conference on Friday, Merkel's spokesman Stefan Seibert backed Schroeder. If you believe in God, the article is not important, he said. If you speak to God in a different way, the prayers are still heard. Well, das gut, das Boot, das Unterland. Texas Air Cargo Company founder gets 30 years in child porn case. A founder of a Texas air cargo company was sentenced to 30 years in prison Wednesday for possessing and distributing child pornography in an attempt to sexually exploit the children, prosecutors said. A federal judge in Brownsville, Texas, handed down the sentence to Robert L. Hedrick, 61, who was convicted in May. Hedrick founded Pan American Airways, a cargo company based in Brownsville that shares a similar name but is unrelated to the now-defunct international carrier Pan American World Airways. A phone number listed on the cargo carrier's website has been disconnected. While Homeland Security agents arrested Hedrick on July 18, 2011, they found hard drives that contained more than 2,400 images and 18 videos of child porn. A jury convicted Hendrick of attempted sexual exploitation of children, transfer of obscene materials to a minor, and distribution and possession of child pornography after a 6-day trial. Hendrick's defense had argued that he was set up by relatives or business associates, saying others may have accessed his computer to conduct the chat sessions. U.S. District Attorney Judge Andrew S. Hannon ordered Hendrick to pay more than $5.4 million in restitution and to remain on supervised release after he finishes his prison sentence. Well, wait a minute. They gave him how many years? 30 years, and the guy's 61? Well, he's going to obviously die in prison and probably killed as a short-eyes guy. Yes, the dark matters of the weird news. But where's Hilary Clinton? Where, oh, where is our Hillary Secretary of State? She seems to be missing. On December 15th, the day after the day after the shooting of a school in Newton, Connecticut, State Department officials notified the press that Secretary of State Hilary Clinton had fallen ill. While suffering from a stomach virus, Secretary Clinton became dehydrated and fainted, sustaining a concussion. Deputy Assistant Secretary Philippe Rines said in a statement to the press. Since then, Clinton does not have to have been appeared. Since then, Clinton has not appeared in public. On December 19th, Clinton missed the State Department holiday party. I was going to congratulate her on her record-breaking travel, President Obama said, noting her absence. These are not frequent flyer miles, he joked. She is tireless and extraordinary. On the same day as her office announcement of her illness, they also put out word that Clinton would be missing the Benghazi hearing scheduled for December 20th on Capitol Hill. Indeed, she did miss that hearing, and another one has not yet been scheduled. And on December 21st, Hilary Clinton missed President Obama's announcement that John Kerry would be nominated as the new Secretary of State. Hillary wanted very much to be here today, but she continues to recuperate, said Obama. I had a chance to talk to her earlier this afternoon, and she is in good spirits and could not be more excited about the announcement that I am making. Clinton has been missing since then. So this sounds kind of weird, don't you think? In her absence, she's still being putting out the occasional statement under her own name, but none related to her health. On December 21st, she released a written message for Japan National Day and a statement on Kerry's nomination to replace her. A few days before that, on December 17th, she released a statement on the death of Senator Daniel Ayon. So what's Hillary Clinton's status? Her situation is serious enough to sideline her for 2 weeks, but we still don't know what's going on. How serious is it? Does it prevent her carrying out the Secretary of State duties? Clinton has long planned to step down as Secretary of State days after inauguration. The question is, where's Hillary, and will we even see her before she leaves office? So she disappears, she has this strange sudden illness the day after the Sandy Hook, Newton, Connecticut shootings, which leads to her not testifying on the Benghazi stuff on Capitol Hill. Doesn't even show up for the announcement party or whatever about John Kerry replacing her. So something is up. Are they getting her new clone ready? Are they keeping her quiet somewhere? Was she going to speak up about the Sandy Hook shooting? Maybe she was against it. And is it connected to Benghazi? Well, yes, in a way, if we believe what some people say, that the Benghazi situation was also a false flag non-event, that nothing ever really happened there, that it was all trumped up like everything else for whatever nefarious reason. The dark cabal is on. What say you? Give us a call in. Freedom Screens, 347-688-2902. We will take your calls if you have any comments on any of this news. Now, a lot of people have been waiting for White Hat's report number 48. White Hat's report number 48 has been delayed for quite a while. I can say it will be soon. I do know what it's about. I have read it. I've contributed. Now, White Hat's report 47.1, however, was put up on December 24th. And I will read White Hat's report number 47.1 from tdarkcabal.blogspot.com. This is White Hat's report number 47.1. 'Twas the night before Christmas. Updated. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the land the rats were scurrying because Judgment Day is at hand. Their stockings were filled with big lumps of coal. It was their payment for trying to steal your soul. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of freedom danced in their heads, with Mama in her PJs and I with my pipe, reading the media's most recent NWO hype. When out on the lawn there arose such a clatter, I put down my pipe to see what was the matter. I moved to the door to peek through the crack, expecting to see Homeland Security and the men in black. As I opened the door and listened and looked, I could hear thundering hooves, and I thought I was cooked. I braced for the worst, then saw the white horses. It was Paladin and his posse and all of the special forces. It was cold and snowy, but their heads were covered. It was a sea of white hats, as I soon would discover. T-Man and Wild Bill and the rest of the crew, they were carrying a flag, the old red, white, and blue. Patriots for sure, one and all, unafraid to take a fight right up City Hall. And after that was done, all the way to D.C., they were bound and determined for all to be free. My neighbors all heard, and then looked outside. The white hats dipped their heads and saluted with pride. They began to dismount their horses with care and spread out through the neighborhood with an accomplished flair. They carried with them parchments, scrolls, and good cheer. A smile could be seen from ear to ear. The Constitution, Bill of Rights, and Declaration of Independence, too, each neighbor was given a copy for review. Our founding fathers would have been proud to see such a sight, and the entire neighborhood of patriots gathered together on Christmas Eve night. Paladin mounted his horse and raised his hand to implore the crowd to recite the Constitution together, aloud. "We, the people," he began, and the crowd joined in. As he looked around and smiled, he knew freedom would win. Their voices rang out as they raised their right hand, and again liberty was proclaimed throughout the land. As he gazed at the crowd, a single tear rolled down his cheek. For the first time in his life, the future didn't look bleak. Their voices rang out clear into the night. I as well hoped would be all right. The reading of history came to an end. By all the Constitution they would defend. T-Man stepped forward with his list of names of those who were playing the corruption games. He cleared his throat and looked to the crowd. To see so many gathered, it made him proud. Documents obtained, statements taken, the crimes they committed could not be mistaken. Clinton, Bush, Obama, and Biden too, Romney, Geithner, and Greenspan, to name just a few. They cheated the people and the government they subverted. We have all the proof that the funds were diverted. Herzog has told us a thing or two, and Ed has the fortitude to follow through. There are many people who have seen the light. The patriots, like Poe, reach out on this Christmas Eve night. He paused and cleared his throat once again, and summoned the courage he had from within. There were more to say, and that was of great import. The citizens in Congress he need not exhort. Call your family and friends and talk to your neighbors. It's time to get back your hard-earned labors. Tell them to contact their congressman too. It's time that they do honor the red, white, and blue. You elected them with your God-given right. Now tell them the story of this cold winter night. As patriots gathered for their country so true, we all stood together to watch the New World Order fade from view. The 113th Congress will soon be meeting to decide important matters. They need to summon the courage to reduce the New World Order to tatters. It's time to stand up for the people they represent. The messages we send them with clear intent. Honor your country and your forefathers too. Restore the dignity of the red, white, and blue. Heed our call before it's too late. It's way past time to play it straight. We'll continue to expect you to do your duty and restore America to its former beauty. Honor your flag and your country too. Restore the dignity of the red, white, and blue. As T-Man finished, a writer rode up like Paul Revere and whispered something into Paladin's ear. He raised his hand to report what he heard. He disclosed what he knew, word for word. Seems Obama is about to take a vacation. This will be cause for a big celebration. Too many issues and crimes committed. If it goes to court, there's no way he'll be acquitted. Biden will follow, 'cause he's a crook too. You don't disrespect the red, white, and blue. Plundering and pillaging for personal gain, the crimes they've committed are truly insane. Charges are coming and we need to be prepared, and corrupt politicians will not be spared. And through house cleaning that has already started, fools and their money soon will be parted. Tough times are ahead and we'll all make it through, so it's time to waken up and get a clue. Our rights and freedoms we must always remember on this cold winter nights. On the 26th of December, He nodded his head to his posse's pride. It was time to continue this patriot's ride. They took their signal and mounted their horses and checked their maps and plotted their courses. He took off his hat and tipped to the crowd, then turned and nodded and whistled real loud. The white horses and hats rode off into the night as Palladian turned and said, Merry Christmas to all and have a patriot night. And that is White Hats Report 47.1. Now, as people have been waiting for the White Hats to come out with their new report, other people have been waiting for the former White Hat to return to Earth, and this time, when he left Earth, supposedly, according to his blog, this is the former White Hat, he left in October, but said he would come back through time on December 24th, which apparently he did. A message on his blog, no, he said December 22nd to the 24th. Oh, I see. A message on his blog showed up on December 22nd, called Separate Realities in Varied Timelines. And the former White Hat writes, I am back. Well, not really back, but back to the future. A moment ago I was in mid-October, then time traveled forward to December 22nd. This is the 5th time I have done it, and each has been a separate reality timeline, the day after the ominous December 21st and the first opening to the doorway to the 5th dimension. In what you may call the present, I will soon transition to 5D for the last time. I will not be returning essentially, although in many ways I'm around all the time in many timelines because I'm still time traveling. Temporal mechanics. First, many people ascended yesterday and many did not. The second doorway will occur in 2017. In 2 timelines of December 22nd, the Earth was plundered into darkness and chaos, a cabal plan. In 2 others, the war with Iran was in full force, with one timeline seeing Obama not winning re-election. I also chose this date to warn you about the fabricated shooting spree at Sandy Hook, Newtown, Connecticut. There are a number of people bringing up a lot of things that do not connect. I suggest reading what Jim Stone and Sheila Aliens have uncovered. Yes, this is all connected to LIBOR, as was Aurora, and in a number of ways 9/11. It is about the trillions stolen from you, the people, trillions that could have a home over every person in the world, in hunger, wipe out all debt, with a few million left per each man, woman, and child, and create a world reality where you seek careers and self-improvement rather than slave to barely meet rent and bills. In the past week of this timeline, the Idlewild group has been busy stopping other such fabricated situations of death and despair. The cabal increased HARP activity to set a dark cloud over the country and stopping some from ascending who succumbed to this dark night rising. Aleister Crowley and Cabal's plan was to have a series of such shootings occur one day after the other, leading to December 21st and beyond. They know we are on them and may change plans, so we may not be able to stop 1 or 2, leading to January 1st, 2013. How is it possible, you ask, to get so many people to engage in these false attacks? Are there really that many CIA agents? As a number of the teachers killed in Sandy Hook were, willing or actors being bought off? Okay, then he mentioned something about a video of one of the fathers of a meal, the 6-year-old girl, how he was getting into character before he got on the screen. You saw him, he was kind of laughing and chuckling it up. Former White House says all this. He says this is Operation 7/11 of Project Strawman. Millions around the world were cloned over the past 5 years and have been activated for false flags like this. There will be more situations where clones will be activated to create fiction, shootings, riots, terrorist bombings, and etc. I believe Jason Brentwood had some months ago read that story about Project Strawman. Operation 7/11, that on July 11th last summer, Hilary Clinton had activated millions of clones. apparently Project Strawman was a 5-year project of just capturing, kidnapping, killing, and cloning literally millions of people around the world for things like this, like these false shootings and coming up riots and things like that. So the former White Hat says, you ask, are they that sloppy? We are trying to figure it out. Look, what they want you to figure it out. They want you to figure it out with all the little clues in movies, dates, and names. They are telling you, we can get away with the big wag the dog. Just think what else we can get away with. Hint, Project Bluebeam, fake alien attack. Hint, faked assassination, make Obama look like a messiah. Do not believe any news put out there. The cabal has its agenda, and it is not to take U.S. citizens' guns away. Look at who is profiting by increased gun sales. They want you to start shooting at one another, and even them, because then they can declare martial law and strip you of all your rights instead of just one. This is the 3D hell I have been talking about all along. I am sorry to see this timeline go this way. If you are reading this, you have chose this world. Karma keeps you here, and you must fight or become a slave. Blah, blah, blah. He talks about temporal mechanics and some other crap. Not that I buy into the former White Hat stuff. I mean, it's all been entertainment. I've always seen it as entertainment, even though I've been strangely connected to it in some ways other than being a supporter of it like others have from the beginning. Look at this story here. It says, of Mantoids in Morton. It says, this is posted December 23rd. The Mantoid Consortium did attempt an invasion on December 21st after attacking the Andromeda biosphere, and there seemed to be no way of stopping them. But at 3:11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, or 11:11 Greenwich Mean Time, Sean David Morton stood on the shores of Hermosa Beach to soak in the beams from the galactic core. As this energy wave hit, all Mantoid ships lost power and began to fall from the sky. Seeing these tender morsels of 2012 delight, Sean David Morton opened his maw and ate all the Mantoid ships. Yes, he ate every one of them. And that's that story. I don't know, there's just some other stuff on this, not worth looking into. But, there we have it. White Hats report 47.1 and new reports from the former White Hat. Both of them interestingly connected in various ways. Let's see what else is going on here. Formal reprimand issued to flatulent federal worker. Don't fart in a government office, basically. Don't fart around. A federal employee was formally reprimanded this month for excessive workplace flatulence, a sanction that was delivered to him in a 5-page letter that actually included a log of representative dates and times when he was recorded releasing the awful and unpleasant odor in his Baltimore office. In a December 10th letter accusing him of conduct unbecoming a federal officer, the Social Security Administration employee was informed that his uncontrollable flatulence had created an intolerable and hostile environment for coworkers, several of whom lodged complaints with supervisors. The worker, a 38-year-old Maryland resident, provided evidence that he suffered from some medical conditions that at times caused him to be unable to work full days. But a SSA manager noted that the reprimand letter said, nothing that you have submitted has indicated that you would have uncontrollable flatulence. It is my belief that you can control this condition. In a redacted copy of this letter was recently circulated among officers of the American Federation of Government Employees, the union that represents the SSA worker. Contacted today at his office, the employee said, I can't talk to you about this. I'm sorry. The employee is being represented in connection with the reprimand by a lawyer for his union, Cynthia Ennis, president of the Baltimore-based local, blah, blah, blah. The SSA worker is pictured with his I want to read the letter, actually. Let's take a look at the actual reprimand letter as obtained by the Smoking Gun. It's not coming up. It doesn't want to come up for some reason. Alright. Well, we'll get back to that. How come this letter won't come up? Oh, here it is. Okay. A memorandum, reprimand, from the Social Security Administration, dated December 10th, 2012, to name blocked out claims authorizer from Module Manager, Office of Disability Operations, Office of Central Operations. This letter constitutes an official reprimand effective December 10th, 2012. I am reprimanding you for the following reasons. Charge, conduct unbecoming a federal employee. Specification, on September 7th, 2012 and continuing, you disrupted the work floor by passing gas and releasing an unpleasant odor. Discussion, on May 18th, 2012, your supervisor, during a performance discussion with you, discussed the fact that your coworkers were complaining about your flatulence in the workplace and went on to state that it is the reason that none of them were willing to assist you with your work. Consequently, referred you to the Employee Assistance Program for assistance with what could have been a medical problem that was affecting everyone module. On July 17, 2012, I spoke with you in regards of your releasing of bodily gas in the module during work hours. I asked if you could make it to the restroom before releasing the awful and unpleasant odor. I informed you that the smell from your being flatulent disturbed your coworkers and disrupted the work environment. Several of your coworkers complained about your flatulence. You said that you would try not to pass gas and that you would turn your fan on when it happens. I explained to you that turning the fan would cause the smell to spread and worsen the air quality of the module. Well, that's page 1 of it. Where's the other pages? This is breaking news, man. This is stuff we got to know about. On August 14, 2012, Deputy Division Director spoke with you regarding your flatulence. He said that your coworkers and your manager informed the division office of your continuous releasing of your bodily gas and the terrible smell that comes with it. You said that you were lactose intolerant and that you were going to purchase the medicine called Gas X. He asked that you check with your doctor to see if there are any other options to help you. On August 15, 2012, he said that you were investigating ways you could try to prevent this from happening. However, you have continued to release the odor, and it has become intolerable to work in the module, creating a hostile work environment for your coworkers. You have submitted medical evidence that you have some medical conditions, which at times may keep you from being able to work a full day for brief periods. However, nothing that you have submitted has indicated that you would have uncontrollable flatulence. It is my belief that you can control this condition. The following dates show the time of your flatulence. Okay, so then there's a list of, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, for instance, there's this whole list of times that he's farted in the office. Like, say, for instance, September 19, 2012, 9:45 a.m., 10:50 a.m., 1:17 p.m., 1:26 p.m., 2:42 p.m., 2:52 p.m., 2:45 p.m., 4 p.m., and 4:30 p.m. However, on October 16, 2012, he only farted at 4:49 p.m. Yep, this is your government tax dollars at work to monitor the farting of fellow employees. And the list goes on and on and on. Most recently, November 29, 2012, he farted 4 times at the office at 11:30 a.m., 1:15 p.m., 2 p.m., and 2:30 p.m. Social Security Administration has an obligation to provide professional customer service, and blah, 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 blah. It's making my decision to reprimand you, etc., etc. What else do they say? They give him options. What can he do? For the reasons stated above, I have determined that a reprimand is the least severe penalty available to impose upon you for the seriousness of your action, and it is necessary to deter future misconduct. Please be on notice that a repetition of such misconduct or any other acts of misconduct could lead to a more severe disciplinary action, up to and including removal from federal service. A copy of this reprimand will be placed in your official personnel file and your SF-7B extension file for up to 1 year. Alright, so basically Basically, that's what they do at the Social Security Administration office. They monitor your farts. Alright, during Christmas Eve, officers in Hazelcrest, part of Chicago, shoot and kill dog during search for fugitive. The search, and this is Hazelcrest, Illinois, the search for a fugitive might have taken a tragic turn. Kenneth Conley escaped from the federal jail in downtown Chicago last week, and one suburban family said the search for Conley claimed the life of their beloved pet. This past September was supposed to be the Pooch's 6-year-old birthday. The Pooch's Kobe, a 70-pound Rhodesian Ridgeback mix, was shot dead, allegedly by Hazelcrest police officers. Chantel Weaver said a police officer told her officers were acting in self-defense when they shot Kobe. She said she had just put Kobe in her closed, fenced-in yard at about 6:50 a.m. on Christmas Eve. She said 5 minutes later, Hazelcrest police showed up at her door. One of the officers said, "Ma'am, your dog's dead." "Heartless," Weaver said. He said, "Ma'am, your dog was getting ready to attack one of my officers. And they shot him 3 times, Weaver said. Hazelcrest police said the dog tried to attack officers on a public sidewalk, and officers felt they were at risk of serious injury. Weaver said Kobe was in obedience training all the time, and it was very unlikely he would have attacked the officers. Neighbors said police fired first and asked questions later about Conley, who officers apparently thought was hiding in a house next door to the Weavers. "I was like, no we don't. You all can come into the house and check," neighbor Dayon Mullins said. Williams said officers walked down to her basement, saw a teenage girl on the sofa, and simply left. Conley escaped from the Metropolitan Correctional Center last week, along with his cellmate Joseph Jose Banks. Banks was captured 3 days later, but Conley remains at large. A search for Conley in Hazelcrest turned up no signs of him. After Kobe was shot, the Weaver family was left with an open fence that should have been secure and questions about proper police procedure. "What about protocol? I mean, to shoot a dog 3 times? What about mace? It just doesn't make sense," Weaver said. The Weavers still had Kobe's wrapped Christmas gifts of dog treats below their tree. "It's just devastating, you know," Weaver said. The Weaver family has hired an attorney. Well, no good Christmas for Kobe the dog. Let's see what else is going on here. Let's see, a man accused of trying to use stolen goods as Christmas presents. This is also coming out of Chicago, in the Riverside area. There's a bond hearing today for a Cicero man who Riverside police say burglarized homes, then tried to use what he stole as Christmas presents. Riverside Police Chief Thomas Weitzel said in 27 years of law enforcement, he has never come across a guy who stole property and tried to wrap the goods and give them away as holiday gifts. He had repackaged them, rewrapped them in Christmas wrapping to give to his family and friends, said Weitzel. Chief Weitzel says 42-year-old Greg Cook is a serial burglar, stealing laptops, cash, jewelry, and credit cards from homes, one time stealing Victoria's Secret's clothes and tried to return them to the store. He took those clothes back to the Lombard store, didn't exchange, and then bought additional clothing that would fit other family members of his, said Weitzel. Police said Cook also purchased a ceiling fan for his home with a stolen credit card. The fan had already been installed, and police took it down for evidence. Wow, he's a mean one, Mr. Grinch. Man dies after shooting over Air Jordans. This is coming from Texas, Houston. A man who crashed a car last week after being shot over a pair of popular sneakers has died. He was identified as Joshua Wood, 22, and no one has been arrested in his death. Wood was shot about 10:30 a.m. last Friday. He was trying to move. He was trying to move from the passenger seat of a car to the driver's seat to escape two armed men demanding his new Nike Air Jordan shoes. He and another man had bought several pairs of the newly released Air Jordan 11 Bread sneakers earlier that morning at a Willowbrook mall and then drove home. As the driver stopped at his house, a green four-door car pulled up in front of him. An armed gunman got out of the green car and demanded the newly purchased shoes, which retail for about $185. The driver took off running, with the armed man shooting at him, leaving Wood the passenger behind. As the driver knocked on a neighbor's door for help, he heard more gunfire, which turned out to be another man firing shots at Wood. Although wounded, Wood slid behind the wheel and drove away. He crashed between two houses, hitting a gas line. Wood was taken to Houston Northwest Hospital where he died. The driver was not hurt. Okay, so basically, these homies get jacked for Air Jordan shoes. Of course, we've heard similar stories when it comes to Air Jordan shoes, of Air Jordan robberies and hijackings and thefts at mall. I mean, what is it for a pair of sneakers? These people are willing to kill each other over a pair of $185 sneakers. What is the answer to that? Crack, meth, cocaine, but mostly probably crack. These crackheads are shooting each other for Air Jordan Nikes. And we wonder why this country's going to hell. Let's see, I read that. Let's see if we could hijack someone into the call and get their commentary on the latest news. Here at Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com, where you never have to expect us because we're already here. Alright, let's see what else is going on here. Once again, we're always looking for the best of UFO news. But what UFO news has been going on lately? Have you seen any UFOs? Is there a UFO among us? UFOs. That's what we want. No, I guess not. I haven't seen any UFOs. Got here Skinwalker, the top secret UFO plan. What does that story have to say? It's not a story, it's a video. Well, gosh darn it. Oh, I guess that was the Jesse Ventura show. Yeah, I need to catch up on my Jesse Venturas. So, I guess I just ran out of news to read about. Here we got here. Air Force plans to build a flying saucer, now declassified. Did I read that story before? Maybe not. Okay. At the same time that the Air Force was denying the existence of UFOs back in the 1950s, it was also secretly trying to build its own supersonic flying saucer. Recently declassified documents reveals that the Air Force, in 1956, contracted a Canadian company, Avro Aircraft Limited in Ontario, to construct circular craft that could take off and land vertically, as well as potentially reach a top speed of Mach 4 and flying as high as 100,000 feet over a range of 1,000 nautical miles. While Air Force personnel were dismissing and debunking UFOs through its Project Blue Book operation, this homegrown flying saucer was dubbed Project 1794. The report, released by the National Declassification Center, which is part of the National Archives, shows declassified schematic designs of what the Air Force saucer would look like. It kind of looks like a Nazi bell, with little windows and all that. According to the official declassified report, it is concluded that the stabilization and control of the aircraft in the manner proposed, the propulsive jets were used to control the aircraft, is feasible, and the aircraft can be designed and have satisfactory handling through the whole flight range from ground cushion takeoff to supersonic flight at a very high altitude. In other words, this thing was not science fiction or from another world. It was really expected to work. The National Archives posting indicates that Project 1794 was at least in the initial phases of research and development. This much we do know. And the images of the original schematics are strikingly similar to reported UFOs at the time the project was undertaken. Curiously, these pictures bear a strong resemblance to flying saucers in popular science fiction films made during the years these reports were created, 1956 and 1957. The estimated cost of the Air Force saucer was $3,168,000 for a period of 18 to 24 months, which translates to about $26.6 million in today's dollars. It's kind of a cheap saucer, sounds like to me. It cost a billion for a stealth fighter. This report concluded in June of 1956 that additional tests to completely substantiate this expected vehicle performance are shown to be required. Chris, I thought this was declassified before. We've seen pictures of the Canadian company, films of the Canadian company Avro testing several sort of flying saucer shapes and modules. However, looking at the report, we see that there were a number of models being worked on from small to big, and which probably led to the TR-3B and the other Aurora type ships that have been flying around and causing people to go crazy for quite a while now. Let's see what's up, what's going on. And what's this thing about the White House getting petitions to deport Piers Morgan, the British CNN news anchor, for being anti-gun? It's now up to 75,000 signatures, far more than the White House needs to address this. And now there's a counter petition that the United Kingdom doesn't want him back. Hollywood studio employees caught pirating films. This is coming from Russia Today. The U.S. movie industry claims online piracy is costing it billions of dollars in lost revenue. However, data released by Torrent Freak shows BitTorrent piracy is rampant in Hollywood, where studios employees are busy pirating films. Hollywood isn't without sin when it comes to piracy. The MPAA and other lobby very hard for anti-piracy measures, but can't even stop piracy in the offices of their own member studios, TorrentFreak.com reported. The website dedicated to reporting the latest news and trends on the BitTorrent protocol and file sharing claims BitTorrent piracy is rampant in Hollywood. Torrent Freak published some of the files that Hollywood studios were sharing, starting with Paramount Pictures, whose static IP address were associated with the downloading of a wide variety of content. The indie production Battle Force was one of the movies shared, as well as the Lionsgate film The Hunger Games. However, the list also included Happy Feet, a movie distributed by competitor Warner Brothers. According to Torrent Freak, film insiders at Warner Brothers were also frequent BitTorrent users with a particular interest in adult entertainment and The Expendables 2 among the titles that were allegedly downloaded via Warner Brothers IP addresses. The website said Sony Picture employees, among others, were sharing video games, TV shows, and movies at work, such as 20th Century Fox's Ice Age, Continental Drift, and an episode of Top Chef. The above is no surprise, of course. Torrent Freak wrapped up saying that last year the now defunct website you have downloaded had already revealed that BitTorrent was used as by virtually every company. Well, I can tell you, I myself see most good Hollywood movies. I usually see them 2 months before they're released. I have a lot of friends who have friends who have friends who work in various production companies and studios, and these films, copies of them tend to just kind of start leaking out. I've always figured that they're intentionally leaked out to create some sort of buzz of word, but these movies, the files, the screeners, and whatever, get floated around Hollywood, or the Los Angeles area anyway, long before you, the normal public, ever sees them, or even get onto the pirate sites. I saw The Hobbit 2 months ago. Right now everyone's seeing The Hobbit and talking about The Hobbit, but I saw The Hobbit 2 months ago. Not that all impressed. I mean, it was fun. If you're a Lord of the Rings fan, and you realize how much The Hobbit is kind of similar in many ways to the Lord of the Rings story, with the unthroned king heir and stuff like that, and the quest and the whatever, and the hobbits. Kind of disappointed that the Hobbit has been broken down into a trilogy. There's just not that much story in the book of the Hobbit to make a trilogy, and could have been just a nice, 3-hour movie or something. But nope, they had to create it into a trilogy to milk it for all the money they can. But hey, that's the American way, even if Peter Jackson is from New Zealand. I don't know about those people down there in New Zealand and Australia. I just don't know about you people. They don't have enough fluoride. Alright, so let's see what we could wrap up with.